Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Rebic Ibra, Rebic, il tiro, goal!
Okay, we could talk about that too, but
that's the plan. Right, let's go. Are you recording yet? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host, Ollie Fisher, joined once again by Anthony Torgrud.
Yeah, full house today. You got me, you got John, you got Maddie. Everyone's here. Maddie wasn't supposed to be, but he is. Explain yourself.
Yeah, surprise visit. I finished my exams this morning instead of this evening, so I'm here.
Hey, guys.
I'm sorry?
How did it go?
I got a B on the one this morning, and I don't know about the essay one yesterday.
Sorry, John.
No, just saying hi.
Pleasure to have you back, mate. Second week running. Yeah, full house. It's weird. It's weird having like 4 people on screen. I can't really get used to it, but it's a busy one as well. Full house for basically a full schedule. We've got 3 games to recap, 2 games to preview because this is the last episode that we're going to do this year before we have a little break and stuff. Some rumours been flying around. Europa League draw. Plenty to talk about, so we'll just dash straight into it, I guess. So we'll start chronologically with the first game to recap. This was not a fantastic spectacle. We don't need to spend an awful lot of time on the game, but obviously we spoke about that Sparta game being a bit of a fun one, a bit of an exhibition game. Wild card could go either way. We were going to rotate 10 players, which is what we ended up doing. Sparta played a young team. There wasn't an awful lot of quality in the game, but the one bit of quality there was came from Jens Petter Hauger again.
Yeah, as per usual, the Norwegian wonder kid, he's killing it for us. Almost had another one today, which we'll touch on later. But yeah, he was the shining light, and it was great to top the group unexpectedly. We really didn't think that was going to happen, so fantastic to see where that ended.
Yeah, it's nice to see him keep on scoring, but to be honest, I don't really remember the game because we've had so many games between now and then.
Much more stress.
I know obviously he scored the first goal. It was the only goal, right, of the game?
Yeah, I think we only won 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, normally he scores the 3rd goal, so it was nice that it was the first goal this time.
It was Dalot who got the assist. I mean, it wasn't exactly a highlight reel assist, but little cut ball inside, and then Hauger doing his usual thing of opening up onto his right foot and scoring. All well and good, it's fantastic, but I'm just wondering when a defence is finally going to figure out that his go-to move is to cut inside and shoot. It was Suso's, but on the opposite flank, and perhaps you could say his last 6 months at the club, he ended up getting found out a little bit, but there's nothing to suggest that Hauger's slowing down anytime soon, which is good to see. And there's literally nothing else to really report from that game except I guess that Pierre Kalulu made his debut for the club. It was his first game for us, and he actually looked pretty good in that. And we'll come on to talk about him more because he ended up perhaps unexpectedly playing in the following 2 games as well. So yeah, that was a nice little milestone for him, and then he got another milestone tonight, which, as I say, we'll come on to. The important thing was perhaps the result that happened at Celtic Park. Celtic have been absolutely useless throughout the entire group stage, and yet they managed to make it 4 points that they took from Lille. They beat Lille at home, and that meant that we finished top.
Yeah, they did what we couldn't.
Yeah,
right.
That's why the Europa League will always be mental to me. You do get these kind of results, where there's one team who literally can't get a point against any other team. Celtic got beaten 4-1 twice by Sparta. We beat Sparta twice. It's just, that kind of thing happens. So yeah, we finished
up until
top
today. So at the point of the draw, at least, there were either 11 or 12 league leaders left in Europa League. All of the top 5 leagues had their leaders in Europa, and none were in Champions League. Obviously, Liverpool topped Spurs today, so that's no longer the case. But yeah, crazy that was even something possible.
I saw that the average position of the Champions League last 16 was something like 4.7, as in, the teams are between 4th and 5th overall, which is kind of mental. But the significance of us beating... We talked about it last week, and we didn't really know how the seeding thing was going to work, especially because there was all these ramifications in terms of who would be the top points winners in each group and stuff like that. But it meant that we did snatch a seed in the last game, which is very good because it basically made sure that we weren't going to get a horrible draw. And Liao ended up drawing Ajax. So, yeah, it might not have happened that way if it had been us instead of them. But if you take it ball for ball, yeah, we would have got Ajax, which would not have been as nice as the draw that we ended up getting, which is Red Star Belgrade. Now, Red Star...
We've never lost to them before. We've played them 4 times. I think we've won 2, drawn 2. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Red Star are a bit like Bodo Glimt in the sense that people, like most fans, most Milan fans won't know an awful lot about them. But all you have to do is sort of Google them, look at the league standings, and you should be pretty worried. They've won 16 out of 18 league games this season. They've conceded 7 goals and they've scored 50. So, they're pretty informed. Like they are, obviously it's them and Partizan Belgrade. Normally they're the top 2 teams in the Serbian league, and it's just Red Star this season. They're absolutely...
What is their Europa League record? Or did they drop down from...
No, they finished second in their group behind Hoffenheim, which is understandable because obviously Hoffenheim are a pretty established Bundesliga side now. So that was... But the fact that Hoffenheim managed to take 4 points against them should suggest, well, if Hoffenheim can do it, then we should be okay.
Yeah.
I quite like, and this is going to bite me on the arse in whenever it is, 3 months, but I quite like the fact that we've got the away game first. There's not going to be fans. Red Star are famous for their atmosphere. There's not going to be fans, which should be a bonus for us. But just don't lose that away game, and then we should take care of business at home.
Do you think that we're going to see fans at all for the rest of the season?
I think we might. I mean, London saw a few for a week, right?
Yeah.
And then they went down to Tier 3 again. So we might see some. Well, technically we did earlier this season. I think San Siro has
but you know what I mean by like 2000.
Fans. Yeah.
No, there's no way. Not until I think there's some kind of procedure in place across Europe, whether it be like a mass testing on entry to football grounds or a vaccine becomes truly widely available, then you won't start to see. And even then it'll be incremental, you'd think. They do like 10%, then a quarter, then half, which would be good for us, I think, because if there's any worries about us perhaps not playing as well in front of a packed San Siro with the pressure, at least we get to sort of build up to it, in theory. But yeah, Jan, what do you think of the draw?
I'm happy with it. I think it's one of them where it could be a game that's worse for us, but at the same time, it should be somewhat relatively easy. But I think I said it last week, I think we've got to make a decision coming up to January now. Do we focus on the Europa League, or do we just put it to bed and not really care about it so much? I mean, yeah, it's a relatively easy tie that we should go through, but then obviously it gets harder the further we go on. And do we need that pressure when we're still sitting first in the league and whatever happens over these next few weeks, depending on transfers and stuff?
Yeah, I think the January window is pretty critical for whatever our plans are. If we're going to really pursue this title charge, which, I mean, after 12 games played, still in first, never not in first this season. It seems like that might be the case. And with Papu Gomez being available now, so there's a lot of moving parts. And I think we would probably prefer a Scudetto over a Europa League. So if it's one or the other, I bet we do go that route.
I would love a Scudetto over.
We're definitely not. Well, yeah, 100%. Everyone would say that any day of the week. Although the Europa League / UEFA Cup is the only one we haven't won. I think we'd then become the only team in Europe to have won every single club competition available.
Manchester United, they did it when they won Europa League last time out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they have.
Have they won the Club World Cup though?
Yeah.
I mean, European and international.
Yeah,
they've won
they won
it
before it was called Club World Cup.
Oh, it's like the Intercontinental Cup as well.
Yeah,
like we've won
something like
literally everything that there is to win. But if United might have done it.
I'm pretty sure United might be the only other team. Well, the only team now to have done it.
Yeah, it's worth looking that up actually. But most fans would say let's have a 19 Scudetto over that. But I don't think we're in a position to pick and choose at the moment, especially when, like we said last week, that was our last game pretty much to experiment with rotations, players in positions where maybe you wouldn't have thought they should have been. Knockout football is up next in everything. we've got league and knockout football. That's it. We've got Coppa Italia. If we're serious about winning a trophy, we might want to target that. Europa League is obviously going to be, if we slip up in one game, that could be the end of it, even though it's, 2 legs. And then we know how precarious the league is now. Our gap's down to 1 point at the top of the table. I don't think we're in a position to pick and choose at the moment, but it might come to a point where, if injuries are piling up still in February and in March, when we get deeper in the competition, you just say, now let's get the important bodies out of the way and let's commit to top 4. Because I'm not really bothered about what we do in the Europa League this year. I just want to guarantee that we're in the Champions League next year, even if it means we crash out of the group stages like Inter have done the last 3 seasons, because we're not quite at that level yet of playing 2 games a week and doing it against the best teams in Europe. It's the revenues. Like, we need those revenues back so desperately. And next season, touch wood, there'll actually be fans back. So Inter will have had a shit group stage this year because they didn't get any of the match day revenue from having fans there. They drew Real Madrid and Mönchengladbach, who would have brought thousands, of away fans, and they won't get a penny of match day revenue from that. So next year might be the right year to get back into it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we'll see. We did dodge some pretty difficult sides. I wouldn't have wanted Benfica, even though they looked rubbish against Rangers. I wouldn't have wanted Real Sociedad. I wouldn't have even wanted Red Bull Salzburg, really. They're pretty good. So yeah.
Coach is American, by the way.
Oh, really?
Jesse
Cool.
Marsh.
Oh yeah, I think I do remember reading that. So we move on to Sunday. Well,
Last Sunday.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin with this. It was kind of like the Hellas Verona game all over again. A game where we were absolutely all over a team for the 90 minutes when you look at it overall after the game. And yet we're coming away from it thinking, oh, thank God we got at least a point. It's just weird. Like, yeah, I mean, I think the general consensus among the fan base is correct in that in previous seasons, if we'd have gone 2-0 down in a game like that, we wouldn't have come back. We just wouldn't have come back. We weren't mentally strong enough to believe we could score 2 goals, maybe even 3 goals to go on and win the game like that. But after a difficult start, we conceded 2 rotten goals, really. And we had some bad luck. We had an equaliser disallowed that I still haven't seen a proper angle of yet, really. I've seen the still, but not the video replay. We hit the post 4 times. Çalhanoğlu hit it 3 times on his own. And yeah.
We had 26 shots to their 4, and yet 2-2. This game was very reminiscent of the earlier one against Hellas Verona, where I believe that also ended 2-2. Mm-hmm. And we had like 30 shots to their 4, their 5, or whatever it was, Same thing. We're dominating these sides, yet we're getting unlucky in goal. And the Hellas game was because Tatarusanu had his debut and made a few mistakes. This one you could argue was because Kulu made his debut, had a few mistakes, and just the dynamic of the game changing because of that new person in there. Kessie didn't know that he was going to drift out, et cetera, but it really fell apart today.
Yeah, but I mean, what we've shown, even tonight, is that even when it's not our night, we're making it work. And that's so important. And that's what you have to do to qualify for Champions League and hopefully, knock on wood, win the league, Mm-hmm. I was telling AJ before the pod started, this is like a very Juve thing to do, where we think that they're going to lose, we think we're going to lose, and then somehow we get at least a point.
Mm. Which looks like a good point if we were to go on and take 6 points from Sassuolo and Lazio, for example.
Absolutely.
It's all relative in the context. I think this feels worse after the Genoa game because we only managed to 2-2 draw against Parma. We should have been targeting 6 points from this. We've got 2. But, looking at it down the road, it might be a valuable 2 points. Keeping that unbeaten run intact, it can't be a bad thing for the mentality and stuff. But I think the thing is, in both of these games, I can confidently say we would have won if we had Ibrahimovic and Kier on the field.
Yes.
And
easily.
If perhaps before there was this narrative that we're fine without them, that's we're that strong, we don't even need them. That's just completely blown out of the water.
I think we could get away without Zlatan. We've proven that because we're still scoring 2 goals. I think today is 2 consecutive goals in 14 straight league games. I think the holes in defense are significantly more critical. I mean, Kier has that on lock, and with him in there, then we could hit the post 3 or 4 times. Hopefully we never have to again, but we could do that and eventually get that goal to win it because we're not letting stuff in. It's not the case right now. So I think Kier's importance, I don't want to say he's more important than Zlatan, but given these scenarios and these specific games, I think we miss Kier more than Zlatan. But if we had Zlatan honestly, and not Kier, we probably would have had 3 goals. So who knows?
Last year, I feel like we would not be saying this at all.
No,
like
definitely
we would not have expected this outcome.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen a feature that described Kier as like the Ibrahimovic of the defense, like because he's such a leader at the back and stuff, which we probably didn't expect when he arrived. We probably didn't even expect after we'd seen him for a few games and stuff. But like he's the leader at the back without an armband, and he affects everything around him. He's made Calabria a better player in my opinion, as has Salamanca's ahead of him. He's bailing Romagnoli out, or he has done, and then especially the 2 in front of him. You know, I think Benacer and Kessié, knowing that there's a reliable pairing behind them, sort of influences the way that they play as well. It means they're allowed to go towards the ball and be more proactive. I think that's important, and I think we saw in that game against Parma that, like you said, AJ, they're not used to Pierre Kalulu being there. They are used to Gabbia being there, but obviously he went down with a knee injury inside the opening 15 minutes, was it? In fact, just after they got 1-0 up, I think it was. Was it that early?
First 5 minutes,
was it really? Yeah. So I mean, when he went down, I thought straight away, oh God, this is not going to be our night. You know, when something like that happens.
It's so interesting for Kalulu because so that Thursday he had his first ever appearance for us, and then he had his first ever league game on Sunday, and then today he had his first ever league start.
Yeah, so it's been like a
and his first goal. So but he had his first mistake in that first game.
He did. Well, it's just a miscommunication. I ain't gonna hold either of them massively liable for what went on for that first goal against Parma, but we knew their main threat was Gervinho. I actually think Kalulu did a pretty good job at showing him to the byline. If that had been, for example, Romagnoli in that position, or Calabria even in isolation, I think he'd have burst inside, but he did a good job to show him to the byline. His cutback was pretty much pinpoint, you know. And then the problem was that Kessie had dropped in to fill the hole because he was like, where the hell's the centre-back? Where Kier would have been normally.
He drifted out wide on multiple occasions today and yesterday, and that's just because he's naturally a right back. You know, that's why he's following Gervinho there. I think, did Gervinho on the cutback nutmeg him? Is that how it went by?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it ricocheted off his leg just slightly, like a little.
Is that what it was?
Deflection. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of those things. They hadn't played together, and I don't think anybody expected Kalulu to. Even Kalulu probably wasn't expecting to come on so early in that game. So a little miscommunication big miscommunication like that is something that I suppose we can live with. It's not a sign of some bigger downfall that this team has. And then the second goal was pretty slack, I'll be totally honest. To allow that cross to come in from the right side, to allow an uncontested header on the penalty spot pretty much, and it was their only guy really who was causing any problems. It was Roberto Inglese, who I actually picked out before the game. And, yeah, exactly. Picked out before the game and said, he's pretty much the only one that I know of. But yeah, 2-0 down, but we weren't down. Scoring so soon after their second goal was absolutely vital. Like, if we'd still been 2-0 down going into the last 15 minutes, let's say, I think we start to force it too much and it becomes a bit difficult then. But yeah, and then the corner drops to Teo and he the cross, drops to Teo and he rockets it in, and we got a draw. I mean, even in those last 3 minutes of injury time after we'd equalised, we were pushing for the winner. And I just saw it. I just thought, if this goes in, then people are going to start saying this is our year, because it'd have been just like the Scudetto season when we found a way no matter what.
What's interesting is this is 2 games in a row that we've scored from a corner, when I don't think we scored in the last 15 or 20 games. from a corner.
Oh,
so
we had a really
It is
bad
interesting.
record, yeah.
yeah.
We did have a bad record. So yeah, that was the Parma game. I guess I can't really think of any incredible performances to pick out from that one. There were a few good ones, a few bright ones. Hakan actually had a decent game under the radar.
I think Hakan had one of his best games in recent weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, hitting the woodwork 3 times, it's kind of unheard of, isn't it? And people say that, well, we played bad that game, but you don't come out of the game with 25 plus shots, hitting the woodwork 4 times, having a goal disallowed, and say that you played bad. That is literally just an unlucky game of football.
It is unlucky.
Yeah, and we've had them, as has been said. I think even the Roma game, we were kind of unlucky as well. We emerged from that against a team that was sort of up there with us at the start of the season. We thought, how have we only drawn that game? And that's a sign that we're all starting to raise our expectations a little bit. And I think it's a good sign. The team are giving us a reason to, because they're playing so well. And I'm confident with Ibra against Parma, we'd have won that game. And that's perhaps why you see the difference. And let's move on then, I guess, to Genoa. This was not as enjoyable a draw as the Parma one, I'll be totally honest. I just found this, it was a combination for me of it being on a Wednesday night, which I don't like. Huddersfield were playing at the same time. We played Coventry for the first time since 1973 or something, and we drew 0-0. So I had that on in the background. I was watching the Milan game because it wasn't on Premier Sports on a dodgy Japanese stream. Not one of those ones, just a dodgy Japanese stream. And it kept buffering, and I missed our second goal because of it. It was just stressful, man. I really thought going into the last 10 minutes that it was done. I really thought the unbeaten run was done. I just thought they were the last team we lost to in the league, and they'll be the most recent team that we lose to. But small positives from the game. I said this in the chat afterwards. Take some very small positives from it. This could very well have been our worst performance of the season. We went a goal behind twice in the second half. We still found a way not to lose the game. It's getting a bit mind-blowing now.
Yeah, I mean, every game we struggle in, we're not losing. So that's ultimately what matters.
But I thought for sure that we were going to lose this week.
Yeah, this is the first time since maybe Juventus when we were 2-0 down that I thought, we're going to lose this. This is the first game in a long time when I thought, this is a game that we're going to lose, we're going to throw it. They just didn't look interested in the players. They looked lethargic. It's like they had Christmas on the mind already. And, it was a sloppy performance all round, really.
Yeah,
better wake up pretty fast.
Seriously. Yeah, if Parma was a great game that we were unlucky to draw in, this was a terrible game that we were lucky to draw in. I mean, it's polar opposites in just 3 days' time. It doesn't make any sense, but it does when you look at the players missing. You miss our most important midfielder in Benacer, our most important striker in Zlatan, missing Teo Hernandez, the best left back in the world. We're missing our best defender. I mean, it was too many bets to be missing and not enough from the backup guys.
I've started to when I saw the team sheet, I was thinking, why the hell has he dropped Teo Hernandez off the back of a game where he scored 2 goals and rescued us a point? They're saying it was slight muscle fatigue. For me, I think what Pioli's done is said, well, this game's a bit of a throwaway anyway. Like, what happens, but we've got 4 massive players missing. So get Teo his rest now because he's that important, and have him back at 100% for Sassuolo and Lazio, which are much more challenging games on paper. It's like, if we're going to have, half our team out there, let's lean into it and let's just put something out there and try and have everyone back for the next 2 games. Kind of backfired a little bit. I mean, Kalulu, for me, no one's going to really pick him out for this, and I understand that, but Kalulu for me was at fault massively for the second goal.
100%.
And I don't like digging him out, but we've seen right there that he ain't a centre-back for me. And perhaps positioning-wise, he's a bit... who's the really small guy who used to play centre-back? Mascherano used to play centre-back. Have I got that right? Every now and again, he used to drop in at centre-back and you used to think, you can actually do this because of his positioning, his awareness, his anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you come up against a team that has aerial specialists like Destro and like Scamaccia, it's going to come unstuck. You know, if you stick Kier there, we don't concede either of those goals, in my opinion, and we probably win this one 2-0. So that's where the fine margins come into play for me. But I ain't just going to dig him out because the whole point of that was he then made up for that with scoring his first goal for the club from the corner, knocked down from Romagnoli, funnily enough, who arguably was susceptible for the opener.
And on that second goal, it started with Brahim trying to make a through ball to Salamakers and just like tapping it instead of actually passing it, and it went straight to the Genoa dude, then passed it, and then we missed 3 more interceptions like at point blank range.
That was bad.
I actually, before we conceded, before Destro even got near the ball, I screamed "fuck off" at my TV because I just felt it. I just knew, and then sure enough, it went in, and then I threw the phone. But.
Well, my stream was behind, but up until that point, it had been pretty much neck and neck with the app. But then at this particular moment, the stream was behind, so I saw the score flash up as I looked up to see the goal go in, and I was like, and then my stream went down, and I said, I don't even know if I'm going to bother trying to get it back up at this point.
Honestly, their first goal was incredible. Like, it was an incredible shot.
It was a good save.
That Scamacca almost goal. That shit was scary. I thought that was it. I seriously thought like they were going to win on that corner. Yeah.
It's one of them. I mean, it's bad. We've had some bad results at Genoa. You know, I remember us losing 3-0 there early on in the season once, and Marassi is always a difficult place to go, as Jan said last week. And we've come away with 4 points out of the 6. You know, we've played back-to-back away games there against Samp and against Genoa. So arguably, perhaps it's not the end of the world. But yeah.
That ended our away winning streak also. We were on 7 straight, which I think was our second longest. Had we have won this, it would have been the longest, right?
No, we were on 7,
9.
but the record's 9, yeah.
So we'd need 2 more. Oh, well.
Couple of hot takes then that I'll throw out there. Number one, I thought that was Tonali's best performance so far. I think on the quiet, I thought he was really, really good. He wasn't actually really responsible for anything bad that happened. I actually think Kessié had a pretty bad game.
Really?
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I felt like no one was able to string together passes.
His one job was just not to get booked. And he got booked after we scored. It's just, I don't know.
So did Liao. I noticed a lot of players were getting
Liao got booked
because he was trying to get the ball from the goalie.
One thing I noticed was Kessié kept falling back to cover for Kalulu, which we know is going to happen. But that's probably why you think he had a bad game, because it kept leaving him susceptible to who he's responsible for. He's covering these holes for the kid, but then it hurts him.
He actually didn't have a great game against Parma because of probably what you said. He's having to play a different role without his usual guys behind him. Sorry.
It was sloppy in his play, wanted really, but like having to drop back and look after Kalulu obviously didn't help him, but he's still trying to forge that partnership with Sandro Tonali. But I think we've become so used to Kessié having 8 out of 10 performances week in, week out that we're not willing to admit now when he has dropped the ball. But I think the last 2 games he has dropped slightly, whether that's because Ben and Sarah hasn't been there or not, but I'm sure he'll come back as strong as he has been recently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it now, and he had 4 duels lost, dispossessed twice. But other than that, not too bad. 3 out of 3 successful tackles, 14 recoveries. I'm just reading stats off FootMom, so it's not that, indicative of his real performance.
I'm just looking at what Isaac gave both players in ratings. He gave Tonali a 6 and Kessié a 7. Which is Isaac, the man does wear glasses, no offence, Maddie. I'm having a look what Milan News put as well. But yeah, I don't know, it's all subjective at the moment. Kessié 6, Tonali 6 they put, which I would say is probably around about right.
But Kessié at 6'6" and Tonali at 6'7", so right around the same thing.
My hot take was I am not at all sold on Brahim Diaz based on the last few games. I wouldn't touch him. I don't think he's actually that compatible at all with the league. I don't know why. It's just his last few performances.
It could also be our formation or the players he's playing with.
Well, I understand his last 2 starts. He started as the guy behind the striker, and Çalhanoğlu's been on the left as per the 11. But they've been stepping on each other's toes because they play exactly the same position, really.
Yeah.
But I think Brahim came in and showed flashes. You know, he showed exactly what he's about. I thought.
But didn't he come on for Tonali today?
Yeah, he played a little bit deeper.
But didn't really have a position.
It didn't look.
I mean, that said, let's get a goal, and I understand the move. You know, but it's I don't know. I think this one specifically is harsh to judge him for just because of that. He's in a made-up position at that point, but the previous games, he definitely isn't showing that brilliance we expected.
No, but I definitely agree with Oliver. He just looks like he's not molding well with the team.
He's got 4 goals. Like, I'm not going to knock him. He's scored 4 goals. That's pretty good impact. And he said that he's feeling pretty comfortable and that he's learning with every single game. And I really hope that's the case. I think he'll look a lot better when we play him in the hole and play actual wingers either side of him. I think that will give him the space he needs to succeed. And we know what his strengths are. That's getting the ball and weaving through the midfield lines. Just needs to work so much on his end product, but that'll come. I mean, he hit the post crossbar little corner section against Parma with that curling shot, so that was unlucky. But
I think he needs some time to adapt to Serie A too. I think the games where he has played well, he's been playing well in Europe, which obviously it's totally different to when you're playing Genoa's and Parma's of Italian football. So it's same with Hauger. I mean, he's been brilliant in Europe, but if we're being totally honest, he hasn't been as good in Italy, as he has been in Europe at the moment. I think he still needs time to adapt. And I think I said it last week, we're expecting far too much of him already. He didn't have the best game against Parma from my recollection. But I just think Diaz needs some time to adapt massively. But he also needs to do it quick, because with January just around the corner and Papu potentially up for sale, it's a tricky one.
We'll come on to all the market rumours. Like I've got a bit in mind for that, because there's been some good ones. But needs to book his ideas up soon, I think.
If the option to sign Papu, but you have to send back Brahim, I say we do it.
I think you sign him regardless. Like, Papu can play on the wing as well. Anyway, so that was a 2-2 draw. I mean, Pioli came out after the game, and I think this is probably the first time, like Zlatan when he did that interview and showed a bit of vulnerability for the first time. Pioli came out and said, we can't play at 1,000 miles per hour every game. And that was how he opened his interview with Sky. And that to me was kind of like him admitting, look, this is what you're going to get in some games. We have a really tough schedule. If you expect us to absolutely piss every single team off the park with this rapid attacking, intense pressing football when we play 3 times every 8 days, then it's naive, because the injuries are piling up. He's having to juggle. I mean, I'd like to know if he's actually fielded the same 11 in back-to-back games this season. It feels like there's always been one thing to change, and now he's on 4 injuries to deal with, and I feel sorry for him. And even like Salamakers, he ended up coming on today, but he was kept out of the Parma game, not because of muscle thing, but it's come out that he had an intestinal virus. So like even stuff like that you just have no idea is coming at all. And you have to deal with. And another thing before we finish off on the games that we've recapped, been disappointed with Liao's return. It just doesn't seem to click as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I wonder if he's fully fit. You know, I know he had a lot of time off, but in the Parma game, he looked like he got hurt again, I believe, right? Like early on, he went down and was clutching his hamstring or something, but he limped for a while and then stayed playing. And today he wasn't running much. He looked like he either couldn't or just didn't want to or something, but he wasn't running full pace like we expected.
think similar to when Romagnoli came back from injury and he didn't look 100% fit, but it started costing us goals at the back. And I think it's the same with Liao. Normally today there were a few chances where he would put through or he could have easily chased the ball down and you think, Liao's got this, and yet he's running at 50, 75%. I don't know if it was just this lazy agenda that everyone has got with him saying he's lazy, or it was maybe he doesn't want to get injured and he's thinking, look, there's a big game coming up against Sassuolo, there's a big game coming up against Lazio. I can't afford to be out injured for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think there is an element of that. Like, it does make me
I want to
wonder,
give him the benefit of the doubt, to be honest.
I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't think it's laziness. You see that shit on Twitter, but I don't know. That's more hate than anything. I mean, we've seen what he can do. We need to realize that this is his first full start back since a serious injury, whether we want to admit it was or not. I mean, he was out for a while. So
a lot longer
right
than...
before that, he had Corona as well. So it's not like he hasn't had a pretty tumultuous season just health-wise. So, you know, cut him some slack. I think that's what we got to do and just hope he improves.
Remember his recovery. He basically got he pulled his thigh muscle basically while he was on international duty, and you 2 to 3 weeks for that generally, as we've seen with Kieran Ibrahimovic. It's taken just a little bit longer, but with Liao it ended up being a lot longer than that, and it makes me wonder if there were some complications with his recovery, and he's been told, because we don't have anyone else really to put out there, you're going to play, but we'll never know if this kind of thing goes on. But if players are actually told, just put in 80%, don't go 100% because you will do some more damage to it. But we want to test you out, just, you know, manage your workload, be smart, be smart about it. And who knows, we might see him absolutely explode in the next game. But not even just his running and the athletic side of things. It was also just he's been sloppy in possession. He killed a counter-attack opportunity in the game against Sparta. It was, and I don't know. It's just not really clicked yet. But I benefit of the doubt.
Like he's a player that's either going 0 or 100. There's no in between.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with Liao over the next few games. I think he's still going to get plenty of minutes because that's the way that we need to manage things at the moment. But I'm surprised, actually, in a way, because Rebic has not perhaps shown his true qualities at centre-forward since he's had to play there. Provided assists, as we know, but he's still on no goals. He nearly had a goal tonight, to be fair to him, when he beat like 3 players, was going for the Puskas award. But I think if it's last season, he buries that chance. You know, he just snatched at it a little bit and hit it straight at Perrine. But that's that. But I just wonder now if Liao's role might be as a centre forward.
I hope so.
Because we've seen that Rebic is better on the wing. We've seen that we've got Hauger there now as a backup. Perhaps we now say, okay, Rafa, it's going to have to be here. Because I'd still rather have Liao up front over Colombo. And that's not a dig at Colombo. I just think he knows the system a lot better. We'll see. Anyway, speaking of what's to come, 2 games to preview since it's the last episode of the year. We've got Sassuolo away on Sunday. And this is going to be a tough one. Sassuolo have had a good start to the season. I'm going to get some stats up. But I've just seen that Manuel Locatelli is going to miss the game because he's suspended. So for us, we'll be missing Kessier. They'll be missing Locatelli. So I suppose it kind of nullifies that, which is important. And they're doing quite well this season. They're currently in 5th place. They've got 23 points from 12 games. They started the season like an absolute house on fire. They won 4 of their first 6 games. They won 6 of the first 8. Yeah, they're doing pretty well. They've only lost 1 game this season, and that was to Inter. They drew 1-1 against Fiorentina tonight, though, which they will not have been best pleased with. But this is going to be a tough one. It feels like Sassuolo away was always a bad place for us to go in recent years, but then I think we've won on our last 3 visits there, have we, or something?
We're unbeaten in our last 8 games against them, home and away. But
yeah.
Wow.
So they were always our bogey side, weren't they?
When they got promoted, they beat us 4-3 that first game. The Berardi.
Yeah, they did. I remember that.
Piece and the super foggy night. I'll never forget it. Hated that game. But yeah, they haven't been too hot lately. Yeah, Balotelli had an early one. We went up quick, and I was like, all right, just as I expected, newly promoted team, they're trash, like we're good. And then we weren't good.
That was actually a really good, I mean, I obviously hated it
From
as
a
well,
neutral
but that was
point of
actually
view,
a
it's a
really good
fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to go there. They're still a good side. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of players that I like there. I really like.
Are they
Jeremy
in top
Boga.
4 right now, or are they?
Sixth.
No, they're in
Sixth.
6. Okay.
Yeah, they drew with
I thought they were
Fiorentina
fifth.
tonight.
I thought they were 5th too, because I thought. Oh, well, you're right.
They are fifth.
They're in
They are
5th.
fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in 5th. Yeah. Drew Fiorentina tonight, which obviously isn't ideal really, but they've got good players. Boga, Caputo's good. Their back four has surprisingly been really solid because they had a bit of a reputation for winning a lot of games in like 3-2s and stuff. But if I were to just add it up, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they've kept clean sheets in 5 of the last 7 games, which is pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling overly confident for this, but then again, we've got Ibra and Kier back, and I think that will make a big,
Is that for sure they're both back?
Yeah.
Ibra's a yes, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm hoping it's a yes for Kier. I really am. I know you don't want to risk him, but like, surely you can get through 2 games.
Sometimes you need to,
Yeah, surely you can get
This
through
is
2.
the game that you need to take a risk on. I understand not taking a risk on Genoa, but this game, given that we're only 1 point clear now, and Inter's playing Spezia, they got an easy match. We got to hold our position.
After
This is where you take a
Lazio, do we
risk.
have like a week or 2 off? Or are we just like
We get 1 week off.
10, 13 days.
Yeah, we play the 23rd and then the 4th, correct?
Third.
Something. Yeah,
Third.
Okay.
Third, yeah. I don't feel like I can confidently predict a win for this one, to be totally honest. But I would like to think that if we're serious about a top 4 finish this season, we should definitely be looking to win this game. Maybe that's a really obvious statement, but it's a team that wasn't.
I think we're going to as well.
I think we will, and it's one of them games where I think this would put us 8 points clear of 5th if we win. So I think that's right, because I think we're quite clear at the moment. So yeah, I think we'll win. I think with Ibra back, he'll be itching for a couple of goals, and no doubt
and he'll whip everyone back into shape.
Yeah, when the lads get back tomorrow, I think he'll be drilling it into them that on Sunday it's a must-win game, and I don't think he'll stand for any bullshit off the players, any missed passes like we've been seeing these last couple of games. So yeah, I think we'll win.
It makes a big difference, when like Rebic is the centre forward and he's the one misplacing the passes. Like, we're going to go from that to Ibra, who is, very, very good in his distribution, but will let you know if there's misplaced passes. So we've gone from the centre forward being the problem with us giving the balls away up front to basically having the impact on the other players to be like, just get the ball to him. And that will make a big difference. He's the quarterback of the attack, really. That's just.
Do we think that Rebic is going to start over Liao?
I still start Rebic at left wing because I think he's 100% fit, and I'm not sure Liao is.
Yeah.
But I think Liao has a role to play, definitely.
Especially if Teo's back. Teo and Rebic have great chemistry on the wing.
They do.
They really do. We missed that. He unlocked Teo in that game when he came back. They had 2 really good 1-2s, and one of them Teo had a shot saved. But I would start Rebic definitely on the left wing though, and
I think the big question mark is that Tonali Krunic pivot that we're going to have to start. That's going to be interesting to see.
That's going to be dreadful to see. No, it might not be, but it's going to be a real challenge.
As long as Kier's playing, it won't be as dreadful.
That's what I was thinking. The one bit of encouragement I think about this game is the Parma game and the Genoa game and the Samp game. We've seen 2 teams who were intent on sitting in and playing compact with a low block and saying to us, without Zlatan, break us down, like pass your way through us, because that's the only way that you're going to beat us. And ultimately, we didn't win either game. So
I can see it as a game that Zlatan might not actually score in, but that he's going to drop back, and this might be the game to unlock Rebic on the wing. That Castillejo gets another one, shockingly. Çalhanoğlu might get one.
Dude, he's been scoring like crazy, it seems like.
It is worth mentioning that we could potentially have our first choice front 4 back for this game as well, because Salamanca should start on the right. Çalhanoğlu, Rebic, Ibra. So
By the
then
way,
it's like
Salamaker's still undefeated.
Yeah.
Goat, in my opinion. He actually looks a bit like a goat as well with that facial hair thing that he's got going on.
He does.
I don't think people realise the importance of Salamakers to our system, and we were saying it last week. I mean, he hasn't started our last 2 games, and all right, against Parma we created a lot, but even today, his pressing and his ability off the ball, his work rate off the ball, and what he does for the team in creating the space in behind, it is a big miss, and a lot of people aren't willing to admit that, but with him being back on Sunday, Ibra being back on Sunday, I think we're just going to see a totally different side to what we've been seeing.
Yeah, I think we're still probably going to concede a goal just because Krunic seems to make a pretty dire mistake in every appearance he has. So I'm going to go 2-1 with this.
You too.
Anyone else?
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
I'm going to go 2-1 as well. I think 3-1's very ballsy.
Right, I'm going to hope to be wrong on this. I think this is where the run ends. I don't know why, but I think we're going to lose this one, 2-1. Now, the reason that I'm about to give completely contradicts the prediction I've given, but we've played against 2 teams that sit in, try frustrate, play a low block, whatever. We're going to play a Sassuolo team that know the way to play than to come at us. And I think we're going to be overrunning midfield because of that. If we had Kessie and Benacer, we'd be fine. But we're going to be overrunning midfield because that's how they do things. And it's a mismatch on paper. But
they don't have their best midfielder, though. So that's
but he plays deep. He plays deeper, so it doesn't. It wouldn't affect. It wouldn't be Kessie v Locatelli. It would be, the guys ahead of Locatelli that we'd have to deal with. I just hope to be wrong on that, but I don't like it. I'm not confident for it.
Well, we're at 24 league games in a row unbeaten.
We were 8 minutes away from that ending to Genoa, who had 6 points all season. I know it didn't. I know you're going to say it didn't, but
yeah, we've been close multiple times.
Yeah, but we always look like shit against shit teams.
But the thing is, we weren't earlier in the season. Like, we spanked Bologna,
Yeah.
we beat Spezia. We were winning without breaking sweat, and now we're starting to just shudder to a hopefully not a halt. But
yeah, I feel like Genoa always has our number, though. Like, they're one of the teams that just is always giving us trouble, no matter how bad
So is
they
Sassuolo.
So is Sassuolo.
Maybe not recently.
Yeah, not
anyway,
recently, though.
Lazio on the 23rd. This would be a nice Christmas present to beat these because actually I prefer Lazio to Roma. But Lazio are having a bad season. We could put a nail half in their coffin by beating them. They're currently in 9th after 12 games. They've only got 18 points. They've lost 4 of their opening 12 games. They lost, funnily enough, to Atalanta, to Hellas Verona. So they've lost the teams around them. And did you
They've got Napoli at the weekend.
They lost 3-1 at home to Udinese. Yeah, they do. I feel more confident about this than the Sassuolo one.
It's funny. I feel more uneasy about Lazio than Sassuolo.
I just think it's hard to predict a game 2 weeks out. You got to base everything off your last performance. And if we're basing off what we saw against Genoa, then it's a rough one. But if we're basing off what we think is going to happen against Sassuolo, then we're going to be in good shape because Zlatan's going to be up for it. A bigger team, whether they're in good form or not, Zlatan's going to be up for that.
Well,
and I think Calabria,
it's going to be as well.
Romagnoli, everyone's going to want that.
Ibrahimovic v Immobile is what they're going to, dub the game as because Immobile is still firing him in despite.
Is he? How many goals does he have this season?
Oh, he scored an amazing goal last night. Did you see it?
I did. It was incredible.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah, that's another thing that Zlatan's going to push for. Ronaldo's tied him at 10 goals now for the season.
Yeah, Chiro's on 12 goals in all competitions, 7 in the league, 5 in the Champions League. That's pretty good. He's the guy, man. Go out and if they have a rubbish season, there's your Ibra replacement, by the way.
Can you believe Ronaldo's last 4 goals have been penalties, and he missed a pen today? It almost was the last 5 in a row. Dude's a fraud.
Some people's goat is that.
Fraud.
Not my goat. Mine's Salamakers.
Billy goat. So Lazio's still a good team. Like, if they get it clicking, they are a good team. We saw it last season. They've actually qualified from the Champions League group. It wasn't a horrendous group that they got, but they did get through. And they've still got some very talented players, Acerbi, Milinkovic-Savic, Correa, Luis Alberto, who we will come on to very shortly, Immobile. We've got to be firing here. But I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I think we win 2-1.
I'll go 2-1. I'll give it. Sure.
I think it's be a 1-1 draw.
2-0.
I like a clean sheet. Love a clean sheet before Christmas. I'd have a few beers after that if that were the full time.
Oh, to Lazio. No,
you'll have a few beers anyway.
I know. You're gonna have a few tonight just for fun.
Yeah. So yeah, let's start. Right, market rumours before we move on to the little questions tweet that we sent out. So there's been a few fairly intense ones. We talked about Papu Gomez briefly, so we'll start with that. He wants to leave Atalanta because he's had a big fallout with Gasperini, which it turns out has stemmed from a game where Gasperini told him to play right wing, and Papu literally refused and just stayed as an attacking midfielder. So they had a bust up in the dressing room about that. Seems like he's severed his ties, even though he came off the bench tonight. I don't think he wants to be there. He'd done an Instagram story saying that he don't want to be there. The significance being that a number of different sources have said that we're interested in him. And of course you would be. A player of his quality, you are going to be interested in, especially when they're going to be available in a cut price deal.
But if he's refusing to play a certain position, do you want that player on your team?
I think that probably is more
a small.
It's not a reflection on the player
detail.
entirely. No, it's not a reflection on the player entirely. It's a fallout with the coach over what we'll never really know the full story of.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't really know exactly.
I'm just curious because if he's refusing to play right wing, say that continues, he's just like, F that, I don't like that position. My spot's in the center. Then where do we play him? Do we play him over Çalhanoğlu? Do we try to force him out right?
Do you think Çalhanoğlu's
I would try to
leaving
throw
or
him on
staying?
the right wing.
I don't know. I think it is
I think he's
dependent.
getting that renewal.
I think it is dependent on whether Çalhanoğlu stays or goes, and I wonder how long that's going to drag on. I mean, everything that every reporter was saying today pointed towards we'd know the answer by the end of today with what was happening with Çalhanoğlu.
Well, they had a long meeting today, and
4 hours.
Supposedly it was positive talks, but I think
then
you use this Papu Gomez stuff as leverage. Like, look, Papu Gomez wants to come in and he'll take 2.6. Why won't you? You know, and easy peasy.
We should be on the board of directors. That would be fantastic.
How much is well, you know what? If we start buying stock, you never know what happens.
Stock, yeah.
If we own 0.01%, that'd be good. I think it's one of those. It's the contrasting approach of, let's say we have a limited budget to work with. Do we spend it more wisely on positions that we need, or do you go out and get an actual match winner that's available for 10 million euros, let's say? Look at his stats. He was their player of the season last season. He's become their club captain. He absolutely loves Atalanta, but at the same time, he wants to stay in Europe because he thinks he's got a shot of staying in the Argentina team, which is fair. But if you look at his stats, if we start with 16-17, this is in the league, 16 goals, 10 assists, 6 goals, 10 assists, 7 goals, 11 assists, 7 goals, 16 assists. This season, he's got 4 goals, 2 assists in 10 games. He's like guaranteed production from that attacking midfield role. I actually think he's probably closer to a Rebic type of player than a Çalhanoğlu because he plays so close to the striker.
He's speedy too, right?
So what if we bring in Papu Gomez, put him behind Zlatan, move Hakan out left, and then throw Liao on the right, or just hope Salamakers continues to be God, or like, what do we do? Because there's movement that has to be made there if we get him in.
Yeah.
And we should.
Something has to be done. I think you do it as just security because there's a real chance that Çalhanoğlu and Brahim Diaz both aren't at the club for the start of next season.
Yeah, at the very least you get depth.
You get one spot sorted. I think you do it. I really.
How old is he now? Is he 34, 35?
32.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. Now our age cap's at 40, so he's got a few more years in him.
Yeah. I just. I like him. I just thought that perhaps if you were to have this discussion a year ago, we'd be saying we've no chance of getting someone so important to a team. But the situation, and we keep being told that Maldini's on the lookout for opportunities that arise. This might be one of them.
That's an opportunity.
But I still think Talvin's the guy. Based on what's coming out, I still think that he's said, right, we need a right winger. And this is a good, cost-effective deal, low risk.
Por qué no both?
think if you can only take one of them out of the two, and I think if you pick, it's got to be Tovin, because right wing is probably the position that we need a match winner in. Like I said, Salmakas fits our tactical style, our squad. But if you want a match winner, we've got Hakan in the middle, Hauge can play in the middle. You've got Rebic out left, Liao out left. Like, we've got so many options there, but I feel like right wing is where we're lacking. So if you have to pick one, and obviously Tovin's a bit younger as well, so I think that's where I go personally.
I would agree as long as Çalhanoğlu stays.
I think he stays. I really do think he stays. We'd have heard more about it if he was good. Because remember, he can sign a pre-contract with another club in January. I just feel like we'd have heard if there'd have been complete breakdown and he was destined to leave, because we'd be talking about selling him, not like an extension. Speaking on the right winger thing, this was an interesting one. It actually came from the Daily Mail over here, who out of the papers are probably, for football stories, they're one of the more reliable and respected. Said that we're in the running for Leon Bailey of Bayer Leverkusen. Now, I saw this and was just so hype. Like, the guy plays right wing, absolutely unreal. Let me get his stats up. I think he's got 9 goals and 6 assists.
Is that the Jamaican guy?
Yeah.
9 goals and 6 assists in 17 games this season. Can actually play as a centre forward as well. So that's
the guy's a baller. There's no denying that. Like, if that's a real thing, then you go for it. But if it's either Leon Bailey and no one else, or you can get Talvin for free and Papu Gomez on the cheap, I think you go for the double swoop instead. You miss out on the overall better player, but exactly, the depth, the experience in the league, proven production, plus the free right winger that you need. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like Bailey because I think he's he's only 23. Like, he's got. There's something weird about Bailey as well, in the sense that he plays for the Jamaican national team. So you never really have to worry about him going to World Cups and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I was like, what's weird about that? He's Jamaican.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. The Jamaican national team is, like, creative as hell. I like to watch him play. And so he's going to be a very creative
Jamaican bobsled team. Player. That was a movie.
Cool Runnings is a great movie.
Yeah.
That might be the episode title for no reason at all.
Cool
Yeah, I would like Bailey. That's true. I could put a helmet on all of us. Let's move on quickly. This one's gaining a bit of momentum, has done over the last couple of days. Apparently, Luis Alberto wants to leave Lazio, and we have Maldini has spoken to his agent, and Daniele Longo says that we've actually inquired with Lazio about him, and he wants to leave. So that
I think it's more leverage for Hakan. I think it's more leverage.
It's like, if we start inquiring about playmakers, it's like, you better be lowering those demands, because otherwise we're going to get a guy who's better than you, which Luis Alberto
will take the money we're offering.
Luis Alberto would be, if we had the option to upgrade, I would do it straight away. I think he's incredible, to be honest. I really like him. I don't know what exactly. I don't think it's gone massively south for him at Lazio. It's just that perhaps sometimes players reach the end of their cycle, but he's got a contract until 2025. He only renewed it in September, so something's clearly gone wrong, you know. Whether it's that
I think the issue is
they're playing.
Go ahead.
Might be that they're playing Milinkovic-Savic a bit further up, and he's just like, "What am I here for?" I don't know, but
that's roughly what I was going to say. I think overall the reason Lazio's declined is same thing that happened to Spurs with Pochettino at the end after they lost the Champions League final. You know, they got to the pinnacle. They were right there. They lost, and then the morale just sinks if they dip. Same with Lazio. They got real close to that title. They failed, and they just haven't done anything ever since.
Really hard in it to get a group of players, every single one of them, back up for it again for another year. But Luis Alberto, anyway, his first full season at Lazio, 2017-18, in the league, 11 goals, 14 assists. He had a bit of injury problems in 18-19, so it was 4 goals, 5 assists. Last season, 6 goals, 15 assists. Again, pretty good production. I think he's good. Erling Haaland. Now, you've been banging this drum week after week, and I've been saying, shut up, it's not going to happen. Things have moved a little bit forward, shall we just say. Crap. Oh, God, I don't want to say questionable sources have come out. Media have said that he has come up in conversations with Raiola when we've talked about Donnarumma and we've talked about Ibrahimovic. they're not the only ones. It's been said by other places. And then, of course, while all the stuff's going on, he does an interview to Sky, Haaland this is, and says, that he's really happy to see Hauge doing well, that he's a friend of his and that he's playing at a beautiful club like Milan in a great league. And it got people, got people a little bit. If perhaps they weren't paying any attention before, they were just sort of like, all right, what's he saying here? And then Fabrizio Romano did an article and basically said, don't underestimate Haaland's role in Hauge's decision to join Milan. Basically claims that when Hauge told him he was thinking about going to Milan, Haaland responded really enthusiastically, like, yeah, you should do that. Mm-hmm. So he's obviously got a good opinion of the club. There's two things that can help us. Three things, let's say. Hauge's influence, definitely. They're friends. It would be great to see them together. Even if it meant we had to bring Christopher Ayer as well, just so we have...
I would do it.
Odegaard.
The Viking Inquisition. Love it.
Is Ayer actually even Norwegian? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
And the other thing is Ibrahimovic, because Haaland has now said on multiple occasions that his idol is Ibrahimovic. The other thing is Raiola. Like, we need to use him. If we're going to be in bed with him at this point, we might as well take our clothes off. We might as well just fucking proper go for it. That's getting clipped. We might as well just say, all right, bring in whoever. We'll have him. Yeah, if you want Haaland, we've got to take Jesse Lingard. All right, if you want, fine.
Yeah.
We'll
if we want
to
take Haaland, we have to give Donnarumma an extra $2 million a year. Do
fine.
it.
Yeah, I'll pay it, man. I'll pay it.
Yeah, he's going to get it anyway at some point this year.
For tax purposes, we have to pay Antonio $6 million a year.
Okay.
That's fine by me. It's still, I ain't going to waste too much time on it because I don't think it's too credible at the moment. But who knows? In time,
I will waste all day. I'll waste all day on it.
It makes sense for so many reasons.
I'd be so excited.
But I think there are going to be clubs that can offer more money in salary terms, and B, probably offer a quicker chance at competing for the biggest honours. If it's true, but like Bayern are interested. I mean, most good Dortmund players go to Bayern.
Bayern said they weren't interested. They said no.
Yeah, that'll be the first time that Bayern have ever said they're not interested in a Dortmund player. Oh, we don't want Robert Lewandowski. He signed for them 3 months later.
It depends on what kind of player he is. Like, if he's chasing money, like he doesn't really... I mean, everyone's money-driven, but he doesn't seem like that kind of player.
He's young enough to where he could chase money 3 years later,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he wants to come play with his best buddy at Milan, now's the time to do it.
And they're young. Don't underestimate how powerful friendship is, okay? What has anime taught us? The power of friendship.
What an amazing clip that's going to make. Do not underestimate the power of friendship.
Honestly, it makes sense. They're young. They're boys. Like, who doesn't?
They're going to have an apartment in the centre of
perfect.
Milan. It's just going to be unreal.
Chilling on the Navigli on a Saturday night after a win.
Hey, some good nights on the Navigli. Yeah, centre-backs.
SempreMilan 2.0.
First night were good with Guinness. The centre-back thing, we haven't really had Jan's opinion on this, so I'll throw it out there. It seems to be the same names. We got Ozan Kabak, Mohamed Simakan. I did an exclusive, an interview with a journalist who is pretty close with the player today, and he said that we've already agreed personal terms with Simakan, 5-year deal. It's going to be about $1.5 million a year, he thinks. We're about $5 million apart on what we've offered and what Strasbourg want, but he thinks that it'll be bridged, thinks that we'll find a way to get it done. He actually seems to be the main target. Maldini publicly said that we're interested in him, which is whether you think that's right or not, whatever. But there's him, there's Ozan Kabak, Per Schurz of Ajax got another mention today, who I've said before I really, really like. Then there's like Nikola Milenkovic, there's Matteo Lovato of Hellas Verona. We're going to sign a centre-back. Jan, which one do you want?
Lovato. Straight up, Verona, I think they've got the joint best defence in the league. I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. Lovato is one of the key players of that defence. He's Italian. He's got Serie A experience. I think it's just a no-brainer, really.
I'd go Lovato as well.
There's no one else that really Milankovic, yeah, I wouldn't mind him. And he can play right back, obviously. There's Christopher of Celtic. He looked good when we played against him, but for me, I'd throw the money at Lovato with him being young and obviously with the Serie A experience and stuff. It just makes more sense to go there.
Yeah. Lovato's a better footballer than Demi is a singer, so just had to throw that out there. Sorry.
And morally better than Demi Lovato.
Yeah. But also, I think it's probably going to be... Who was the first guy we were just talking about?
Simakan.
Yeah, Simakan, thank you. It's going to be him. If we're only 5 million different, and after seeing Kulu perform the last 3 games, we're going to make that happen. If we've already got personal terms, we're going to close it quick.
Yeah, Maldini did a good interview. It was with RMC Sport, where he was basically asked, why do you keep going to the French market so much? And he basically said in no uncertain terms, he's looking for defenders. First of all, he's looking for the physical attributes. He's looking at whether they can win duels. He's looking at basically all the physical attributes, and then he can teach them the mentality side of defending, the one-on-one duels and everything that comes with it. And he seems to think the French league is the best for that. Don't get me wrong, France's national team could probably field 4 back lines in terms of depth that are enough to win a World Cup. They're stacked, properly stacked. But I agree, I kind of like Lovato. I mean, people saying 15 to 20 mil for what's been a quarter of a good Serie A season. Just you wait, in a year's time, he'll be worth double. He really will. Like, he's on that upward trajectory. I keep thinking back to when he went in to sign Skriniar after he hadn't shown loads. But now, he's been fantastic.
Verona are going to hold on to him for too long, and then his value is going to drop, and then you swoop in then.
The guy I would really like is Luis Felipe from Lazio, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just keep thinking we could raid Lazio if they keep underperforming. Anyway, I'm conscious of time, so let's move on to some questions. I basically put out questions tweet and said, as a bonus to celebrate the club's 121st birthday, which it is today, happy birthday to Milan. 121 years ago today we were founded. Just some stories about how people ended up supporting Milan. But some questions. Sujin Ayel asks, what do you think of Gomez as a replacement for Hakan if he were to leave, or would you maybe prefer a younger option? Spoken a little bit about it already, but obviously wanted to read out the question. Do you think Milan have to, this was from Neraziz Octavio one, do you think Milan have to find a replacement for Boban as a CFO? Or is the current composition good enough for management harmony? I think
we've been working fine. Just fine, yeah.
Yeah, fine as we are.
I think we saw with Boban there, too many cooks can spoil broth. You can have too many ideas in there. Boban didn't like what Elliot's vision was, and he left. And I don't think there's any coincidence that Maldini stayed. He does like where we're going, so I think we should be happy with that. I don't think there's any need really to add on. And his story is his father is a Milan fan, and he got an Oliver Bierhoff jersey as his 10th birthday present, and since then he's always followed them. Excellent. Luciano Perani says, the first football game I ever watched was the 2005 Champions League final. I ended up supporting Milan because Milan dominated the game and deserved to win it. Also, Liverpool fans are so annoying, so I just want to spite them. Well said.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. That's fantastic. The question to follow, do you plan to do live commentaries on the Milan games sometimes? Would be cool to see your live reactions. Now, we did do periscopes. AJ, you did a couple of periscopes after games.
I did periscope
really well.
They did. Did that for a while, but we are changing up our recording schedule later in the month. I wasn't going to mention it today, but next January, we're going to be changing the schedule to recording post games on either Saturday or Sunday. We're still working up.
January.
The same thing. Next month.
Is it? Yeah.
This January's already happened. This January is 12 months ago. Anyways,
move on.
We're going to be changing to after the game recording, so we'll probably be sticking to the pod, but we could consider
that. Definitely would be up for it as well, because there might be a little bit of an upgrade being done to the YouTube channel as well. We're hoping to up the ante with that a little bit. So, like Arsenal Fan TV or whatever, we could do some live watch-alongs. One of us who isn't on match coverage or whatever could sit there and react to the game live as it happens. who knows? It could be pretty good. It could be the kind of thing that people like. I mean, I watched Arsenal Fan TV before our game tonight because I've seen that they went 1-0 down to Southampton and they're in such meltdown that I thought it was funny. So it might be good to have the opposite side, to have some optimistic fans and stuff.
We definitely got some stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah. And Jordan, my missus, says that her story is that her boyfriend forced her to support them and throw her Inter shirt in the bin, which is actually true. She had an Inter training shirt that she got as a holiday present, and I demanded that she put it in the bin and convert to be a Milan fan. So I did my bit for the world. What was the question from Pat Dobson?
Let me get that.
Hang on, message me.
Yeah, no, I've got that somewhere. 1 second. So from the Patrick Dobson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, thoughts on reports on Gigio wanting to spend the rest of his career at Milan and Raiola not being happy about it. Touch wood, but Gigio, as he's growing up, seems to be being a bit more independent regarding his decisions. For example, coming out in the media saying Raiola knows what he needs to do. So yeah, just overall thoughts on this situation, Patrick.
I love it. It made me so happy.
Same.
Raiola can fuck off.
Now, we need to stay on. This is a tough one because we need to have the leverage with someone like Raiola, but we need to sort of stay in his good books as well because we've seen how bad it can be to have a bad relationship with Raiola. This particular thing is so straightforward. Now, the backstory behind the report is that Paolo Condo, who is a Sky journalist, but is also pretty well in at Milan, you know, he's one of the insider guys, came out and said that Raiola's feeling a little bit frustrated with how everything's panning out because Gigio's already told him he wants to spend his career at Milan. And what's the worst news for an agent when they've got a €100 million player on their books? So they don't.
He doesn't want to leave.
Because where's your commission coming from, Mino? You're going to have to make sure that you get some good commission.
Contract negotiations.
They could negotiate in an agent fee, which is what on his last one he didn't get any, right?
No, he didn't. No, that's right. Yeah, well, that was one of Mirabelli's biggest things. Is like, I renewed Zlatan without Raiola getting a penny. Yeah, but you also signed his brother.
Right.
I renewed. Yeah, Donnarumma.
Yeah, and he got stuff off that. That basically was the agent fee.
Yeah. But yeah, that's right. I like Gigio's. I would say it's a mature stance to come out in the media and quash all the speculation and say, my agent knows what he needs to do. I want to stay here. That's just... Now we know if anything goes tits up and he ends up going to another club, it wasn't on him.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I'll agree with that to a certain
decision.
extent. But exactly, he does have the final decision. He can quite easily just sack Raiola tomorrow. At the end of the day, Gigio signs the contract, so he can go into that negotiation room without Raiola and say, right, 5-year contract, I'll have a 1 million increase, sign on the dotted line, walk out. So Raiola's there to negotiate for him, but if stuff's going south and you want to remain at a club, you do everything to remain at the club. And the agent, he has a bit of pull, but he can't force you to sign a contract or walk away, where you're your own person, aren't you, in that situation? So,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's pretty sure that he wants to stay at the club. And whether he feels the same way in 3 or 4 years is different, but at least for now we can count on him to stay.
Yeah, the actual quote, which I want to read so I don't get it wrong, from Paolo Condo is that Gigio always tells Raiola, get everything you can get, taking into account that I want to play for Milan. That's it, innit? You know, like get every penny you can, and yeah. Right, anyway, wrap it up then before we get cut off or whatever. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a long one, good one, action-packed. I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher. Reminder to check out SempreMilan store. We got our Twitter account back, so make sure you're following at SempreMilan.com. Pin tweet for the merch. Like and subscribe the video. Been joined by Anthony Torgrew.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for listening. Happy holidays. Like we said earlier, we won't be back until after New Year's, so be on the lookout for that. We'll let you know on Twitter. The original handle's back at SempreMilan.com, so that's been updated in the description below as well. Also, the merch store link is in there also, and all 4 of our Twitters are there, but mine is at Twitter45.
Yeah, I was happy I was able to join this week. Shout out to the guy from Michigan who commented on the YouTube video 2 weeks ago, and Edward __Toth.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me again. I hope I can be back soon. Have a good Christmas. And my Twitter handle is @UK_AC Milan.
Yeah, have a good festive season, everybody, and we will catch you in the new year.
Andrea Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Ibra, Rebic, il tiro, gol!